Mr.
Yes.
Taking a look at City Hall, what improvements do you feel are necessary to the building, or should we consider a whole new building? If you feel a new building is in order, how would you accomplish that?
This is a great question. This is a question that I've been hearing for 20 years. This is since we bought this building we've been hearing this question, and we still don't know the answer. I would do exactly what our school did. This is commonplace in the construction world. Our school board members did a good job, renovation versus replace their buildings. The OFCC demands that. In the construction industry, we demand it. We need to know what the cost is to rebuild or replace. The magic number is 68%. Over 68%, it doesn't make financial sense. So that would be first order of business, is do a cost analysis, renovation versus replace. See what the numbers come back. See whether we renovate it or we rebuild it. We won't know until those numbers come back. I would hope that it comes back in a renovated number. If it comes back cheap enough to renovate and makes sense, makes financial sense, we can get started on this immediately. We have $2.2 million in our capital improvement fund every year. We can start phasing this project out, making it sound, making it energy efficient, but we don't know till we get the numbers. Thank you.
There is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that building needs to be demolished. Working in there for the last 4 years and having a variety of architects, our own engineer, and many other people who walked through there have looked, and no, we have not done a cost analysis. I trust these people. This is what they do for a living. By the time we got done putting in HVAC, a pitched roof, upgrading our electrical system, upgrading our plumbing system, changing every window in there, putting a new facade on, removing the asbestos, the numbers go through the roof. Why are we going to spend good money after bad to take and put into a building that is 60 years old? What are we going to do, extend our lifetime? Another 10, 15, 20 years? No. We need to do something that is indicative of Streetsboro on the rise. We need to build a new city hall. We need to have a civic center. And we are going to find a way. We are going to use the assets that we have. We're sitting on $2 million. We're sitting on $2 million in the land that our building is on right now. That is our leverage. We're working with people now. You know, the last 4 years, we have put our total concentration on the people of the city of Streetsboro, doing the things that we need to do to make their quality of life better. Only recently have we turned our attention to City Hall, when we found out it's going to be $250,000 if we had to replace a roof. And the list goes on and on and on. That building is not worth keeping. Whether it's 68% or 58%, whatever Mr. Allen wants to cite, that building is way past its due. It needs to be torn down. It needs to be replaced.
Mr. Broska, looking at our police and fire departments, do you feel that our safety forces are at an adequate level of staff?
Absolutely. I've been in the safety forces for 22 years. I spent 17 and a half years on the Streetsboro Fire Department, the last 7 or 8 of which were as a captain. I spent almost the same amount of time on the city of Twinsburg as a captain on their department. Of course, we would always like to have more police officers and more firefighters. But right now, with the staffing that we have at the police department and the staffing that we have at the fire department, it is adequate to patrol. It is adequate for the safety of our citizens. Many of you have seen the ratings that were out there. Anywhere Streetsboro is the number 2 to number 8 safest city in the state of Ohio. I believe those numbers. We have a great police force. We have a great fire department. They are second to none. And as we can financially afford to add personnel to those facilities or to those different departments, we will do it. This year we're going to add captains for the first time, full-time captains for the first time in the city to help us with the management of our department. We've got a new police chief. We now have two lieutenants now. We have taken the steps that we need to make sure that our safety forces are well managed and well led, and that they will continue to thrive and prosper and provide the safety and security that we need in the city of Streetsboro. It costs about $80,000 per man or per woman to put someone on either at the police or fire department. We are not in that position now to do that. Will we be eventually? Yes, we will. And we will add personnel as we can financially. But right now, the staffing that we have and the personnel we have are second to none.
First of all, I want to go back to City Hall for a minute. He speaks of HVAC, roof, electricity. You build a new building, you got to buy all these things. That's a constant cost. He speaks of asbestos. If we tear the building down, it's a constant cost. We still have that cost. He speaks of that property being worth $2 million. If we tear that building down, it's probably $1.5 million to tear it down. The school, they did $900,000, I believe it was, to tear down Waite School. Our school's larger. We don't need a Taj Mahal, I mean a city hall. We need a building that is aesthetically pleasing and energy efficient. The residents are screaming for a rec center. That's where our money needs to go. I am not okay with spending your money just because I'd want a new building. I would not spend your money until I did a cost analysis and we knew that was the right way to go. The important part of the building that's standing there is the brick, the block, the mortar, the concrete. Is it structurally sound or not? Last job I was involved in, the building was built in 1851. It was rebuilt. Let's talk about police and fire. We balanced the budget. Last year, they brought a balanced budget forth. Wouldn't fund a policeman. We were down 2. One was on deployment, one had been removed in 2012 for personal reasons. We may do without it. We needed a policeman. Council demanded and showed the administration how to fund that policeman and still balance the budget. And yes, I do today think that we're staffed at good levels. Thank you.
Mr. Allen, this is a question that was submitted this evening. How do you feel about the lack of race and gender diversity with our police and fire departments? As mayor, how would you plan to address this issue?
That's a tough question. I believe in diversity. I've ran businesses, always hired diversity. I believe it should be standard practice, and I will absolutely hire that way. I will take all qualified candidates, check them, and diversity will not matter. If they're qualified, you're qualified. I do not do the hiring and firing today, so I can't answer what's going on there today. Thank you.
I'm proud of the fact that I was the first mayor ever that hired an African American individual to the fire department. I'm proud of the fact that I was the first mayor ever that hired an African American to the administrative part of our city over in our senior citizens department. Finding qualified individuals to be police and fire is done through a test. This is a problem that is pervasive throughout the police and fire service. When we advertise for our positions, we advertise all the way up to Cleveland and all the way over to Akron. We have done everything that we can do to reach out to have a diverse fire department. We've had female firefighters along. We've had African American individuals now. But we have done everything that we can to open up our doors to the diversity that we need to have in this city. Our city is very diverse. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have a lot of different cultures and everything moving in here. And we need to be able to adapt, and we need to be able to help these people when in the time of need. We will actively pursue the recruitment of all cultures and all diversity in our police and fire department, as well as our service department, and as well as the other departments that we have within the city.
Mr. Broska, what is your vision for our park system, especially Thomas Heritage Park and Wilcox Park?
I love Thomas Heritage Park. According to Mr. Allen, we got the most expensive dog park in the world over there. And I think that's a bunch of bunk. That dog park, we've gotten more compliments on what we've done with that park than we have on virtually any other project that we've done in this city. Thomas Heritage Park is a gem for this city. It's a gem in the rough. It's not going to be developed into another city park. It's not going to be developed into a soccer park. It is going to be kept pristine so that our kids and our families can go out there and they can drown a few worms on the dock, or they can take their dogs over there and have them go for a nice little walk, or they can take the pass back to the 7 or 8 acre beaver pond that we have in back and commune with nature. We're not going to put a ton of money into Thomas Heritage Park. It's going to be developed over a period of time. We've sunk a ton of money into our city parks by rebuilding the fencing, by putting new soil and new dirt into the infields. We built brand new soccer fields at an absolute minimal cost to the city because our soccer program is bursting at the seams and we needed more space. Now we have the space for them at City Park. To me, our park system is as important as virtually any other department that we have in the city. We have to have somewhere for our youth to go. We have to have somewhere for our adults to recreate. Under my term was the first time that we had dedicated parks maintenance employees. We have 2 of them now, and they have done a bang-up job. We just recently finally made our pavilion handicapped accessible by extending sidewalks from the pavilion to the parking lot and from the pavilion to the bathrooms. It is an absolute priority to keep moving our park system forward, and we will add to it as we can, as budgeted, and as the money is available to do it.
I do agree. We have the most expensive dog park in the country. We have $5 million, over $5 million with a liability every year trying to take care of it. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that park, besides the debt, the $5 million. And we have a half an acre dog park. Who in this room doesn't have a half an acre yard? If you put two Rottweilers in the dog park, it's full. Let's talk about the pond he brags about. The pond's a third of an acre. It's a frog pond. You can throw a rock across it at any point. Thomas Heritage needs to be developed. Thomas Heritage needs to be turned into revenue. Revenue for the city, revenue for the school district. These things keep us healthy. It's primetime real estate. You'll hear him say there's no infrastructure. It's right next door to Target. Of course there's infrastructure there. Of course it's developable. That's why we got sued, because we didn't let them develop it. They were ready to develop it. We need to develop Thomas Heritage Park. As far as my view for the rest of the parks, my view is the same as the master plan. We spent $60,000 on a comprehensive master plan for our parks. And by the way, Thomas Heritage Park is not identified in it. It actually talks about expanding our parks. And it talks about doing it on the north side of town, the west side of town, northwest, because our demographics have picked up. Even identified properties, and not Thomas Heritage. Thank you.